The action-packed movie opens with a thrilling introduction to our lead character, Chev. He lightheadedly awakens to discover some unusual changes to his body. As he surveys himself in a state of shock and confusion, his attention is captured by a disc placed right by his television. With mounting uncertainty, he plays the disc, only to be confronted with a video of his rival, Ricky. Ricky informs him that he's been injected with a highly unconventional poison. Unlike ordinary toxins, this particular substance works by inhibiting adrenaline production, thus causing the heart to gradually slow down and eventually stop. For Chev, the consequence is clear. If he doesn't keep his adrenaline levels consistently high, he'll lose consciousness and meet his end. Witnessing this treachery on the video, fury consumes Chev, leading him to shatter the television. He quickly ventures outside and scrambles into his car. Frantic, he attempts to contact his girlfriend, Eve, but to no avail. In his desperate bid for answers and possibly a way out, Chev reaches out to Doc Miles, an underworld physician. After explaining his dire situation, Miles advises him on one potential lifeline. He must maintain a constant flow of adrenaline, even if it means engaging in dangerous and thrilling activities. Unfortunately, there's no specific antidote available. Soon after, Chev storms into the luxurious penthouse of his boss, Carlito, pleading for help in finding an antidote and bringing Ricky and his crew to justice. But Carlito coldly reveals a shocking truth. Not only is there no known antidote, but he has also been collaborating with Ricky the entire time. He details a dark plan, intending to use Chev's impending death as a means to appease the Chinese mafia. Feeling betrayed and furious, Chev dashes out, hell-bent on finding Ricky. With a little help from a street-savvy contact named Kalo, Chev locates Ricky's brother, Alex. Hoping to extract Ricky's whereabouts from him, Chev's interrogation proves unsuccessful. In a fit of rage, Chev kills Alex. Seizing Alex's phone, Chev mocks Ricky with the news of his brother's death, sparking a vengeful fury in Ricky, who targets Chev's girlfriend, Eve, as payback. Fully aware of Ricky's tactics, Chev races towards Eve's residence. En route, he ducks into a hospital to elude pursuing police officers. Thinking on his feet, Chev swaps his outfit for a hospital gown, blending in seamlessly with the patients. Spotting a medical assistant, he urges her to hand over doses of epinephrine, an adrenaline substitute. Just as the police close in on his location, a fierce gunfight erupts. Navigating the chaos, Chev manages to get his hands on the epinephrine. Cornered in an elevator, he plunges the syringe into himself, instantly rejuvenating his energy levels. Bursting out of the hospital, Chev catches a glimpse of a news broadcast painting him as a dangerous fugitive. As he continues his mad dash, a call from Eve reassures him of her safety. Promising to be with her in moments, he races to her apartment. When they reunite, Chev embraces her with a passionate kiss. Urging her to prepare to leave, he heads to the kitchen. But the adrenaline rush he got from a hospital earlier is short-lived, and Chev feels his strength declining. Desperate for an adrenaline pump, he spots a toaster and impulsively jams his hand into it. The painful surge revives him, his body flooded with adrenaline once more, ready to confront whatever challenges lie ahead. Glancing out the apartment window, Chev spots Ricky's menacing henchmen lurking nearby. As they quickly try to leave the building, Chev notices one of Ricky's men clearly hunting for Eve. Thinking quickly, he spills the contents of Eve's purse, causing her to kneel down to gather her belongings. Seizing this distraction, Chev confronts the hitman, resulting in a fierce altercation that ends with Chev on top. The duo then seeks refuge in a nearby restaurant. Here, in a tense moment, Chev unravels a series of secrets. Contrary to what Eve believed, he wasn't a benign programmer but a deadly hitman. He recounts the previous night's mission, the assassination of Don Kim. But, in a twist, Chev reveals he didn't go through with the killing. Instead, he persuaded Don Kim to temporarily leave the city. Pouring his heart out, Chev tries to justify his choices, emphasizing that he wanted to turn his back on his violent past for her sake. He passionately urges her to leave everything behind and fly away to safety. The revelation is too much for Eve to bear, and, overwhelmed, she flees the restaurant in a mix of shock and disbelief. Outside, Chev's deteriorating condition grows critical as his adrenaline levels fall significantly. In his desperation, he pulls Eve close, hoping that a surge of excitement might stabilize him. With a mix of urgency and passion, the two become intimately entwined right in the middle of a bustling street. This daring act revives Chev's adrenaline levels, buying him some more precious time. Amidst their passionate moment on the street, Chev's phone rings, breaking the intensity. It's Kalo on the other end, bearing significant news. He excitedly tells Chev that he's captured Ricky and insists that Chev come to him immediately. Determined to settle scores, Chev promises Kalo he'll be at the designated location in mere minutes. Without wasting any time, Chev flags down a nearby taxi. As they journey to the destination, Chev's energy begins to fall once more, his fading strength evident in his features. Observing Chev's deteriorating state, the cab driver mocks him, commenting on his weak appearance. In a surprising turn, the driver pulls out a mysterious vial of liquid, boasting that it's potent enough to make any man feel invincible. Desperate and with few options left, Chev snatches the bottle and downs its contents, hoping it will keep his adrenaline up. Upon arriving at the location, Chev notices several of Carlito's men, their stares immediately zeroing in on him. Ignoring the risk, Chev scales the factory's exterior, eventually reaching the rooftop. There, he spots a man engrossed in a phone call. Wasting no time, Chev corners him, demanding information about Ricky's whereabouts. When the man hesitates, Chev, in a fit of impatience, throws him off the edge. Venturing further into the building, a grim sight awaits him, Kalo, lifeless and bound to a chair. It becomes evident to Chev that the situation is more complex than he'd initially thought. But there's no time to process the shock. Suddenly, the entrance of Eve, Chev's girlfriend, transforms the tense situation into chaos. Gunfire erupts, filling the air with bullets and noise. Chev fiercely defends himself and Eve, taking down many of Carlito's men. Amid the gunfire, Chev is hit in the leg, but he's far from defeated. Managing to get inside an elevator with Eve, they briefly pause to catch their breath. Here, Eve admits that she came to the factory to validate the reality of Chev's world and his tales of being a hitman. As the duo continue battling their way out, their efforts lead to a successful escape from the building. With the dangerous events she witnessed, Eve is finally convinced of Chev's authenticity and the dangerous nature of his profession. However, their troubles are far from over. Carlito's men tail the pair through the winding streets of the city. As the pursuit intensifies, Chev's weakening condition becomes evident once more, his adrenaline level dropping precariously. Opening up to Eve, Chev explains his desperate actions earlier in the day, revealing how he was trying to boost his adrenaline to stay alive. Recognizing his immediate need, Eve offers to help in the most immediate way she can think of. As they continue speeding away from their pursuers, Eve takes the initiative to ignite Chev's senses right within the confines of their getaway vehicle, ensuring he remains alert and in the fight. With a newfound surge of energy, Chev doesn't hold back against his pursuers. One by one, he takes down the henchmen who are hot on his heels, using every ounce of his strength and skill. Once the threat is neutralized, Chev pulls over at a nearby hardware store to regroup. His phone buzzes, and the caller ID shows Dr. Mile. The doctor suggests that Chev should visit his clinic right away. Accepting the advice, Chev soon finds himself in Dr. Mile's office. There, the doctor administers a drug designed to revive Chev's failing system. To amplify the sensation and provide an additional boost, Dr. Mile also introduces meth into the mix, ensuring Chev feels a rush of energy. While this treatment provides some relief, Dr. Mile delivers the hard truth. This is just a temporary band-aid. He warns Chev that the poison will eventually overpower him, leading to a coma, and unfortunately, there's no known cure. Sensing the weight of the situation, Dr. Mile offers to break the news to Eve. However, not wanting to add to her distress, Chev declines the offer. Elsewhere, Ricky is comfortably seated in a car, flipping through news channels that are broadcasting the aftermath of Chev's one-man rampage across the city. The phone rings, and Ricky is met with Chev's voice. Chev proposes a trade, an antidote for the deadly poison Ricky had used against him. Amused, Ricky chuckles, informing Chev that there's no such antidote. But Chev, always thinking a step ahead, reveals his real intention. He's willing to trade the valuable jewelry he discovered from Ricky's brother. This revelation piques Ricky's interest. Without hesitation, he agrees to the proposed exchange and sets a timer for their imminent showdown. Chev quickly fills his girlfriend in on the intense situation he's caught up in, reassuring her with a promise that he will return to her side. But, given the high stakes and danger involved, he urges her to stay put while he confronts the impending threat alone. Determined, he heads to the agreed-upon meetup point. The atmosphere is tense when Chev arrives at the rooftop of the hotel, where Ricky, Carlito, and their gang of thugs await him. Carlito menacingly displays a syringe filled with a lethal poison. Just as Carlito is about to plunge the needle into Chev, reinforcements arrive. Don Kim, who had been spared by Chev in the past, makes a timely entrance with his men, determined to lend a helping hand. A wild and chaotic gunfight breaks out between the two sides. Bullets fly, and many of Don Kim's and Carlito's henchmen become casualties in the intense exchange. Seeing the tide turn, Carlito makes a desperate dash towards his escape aircraft. Chev, relentless in his pursuit, manages to corner Carlito. But just as he's about to exact his revenge, Ricky blindsides Chev, sticking the poison-filled syringe into him. This destabilizes Chev, and taking advantage of the momentary distraction, Ricky shoots Carlito before making his own escape attempt in a helicopter. Chev, with sheer willpower and adrenaline, pushes through the poison's effects. He manages to muster enough strength to clamber onto the fleeing helicopter, initiating a fierce mid-air confrontation with Ricky. In a high-altitude battle, Chev thrusts Ricky out of the helicopter, ending their rivalry with a lethal neck snap. As Chev falls from the sky, he makes a heartfelt call to Eve, expressing his regret for possibly breaking his promise of returning to her. Crashing into a vehicle below, Chev's body bounces and lands with a thud, appearing lifeless. Yet, in a shocking twist, as the movie reaches its climax, it hints that against all odds, Chev miraculously survives the devastating fall,